Hold on to your hats, folks, because the trade war is back and it's brought friends. This time, it's not just a skirmish, it's a full-blown economic showdown. The stakes are higher, the players are more determined, and the consequences could be far-reaching. That's right, your favorite tweeter-in-chief has decided to play tariff roulette with the global economy. Imagine a high-stakes game where every spin of the wheel could mean higher prices for everyday goods, job losses, and strained international relations. And guess what? He's aiming right at our neighbors to the north and south and across the Pacific. The targets? Mexico, Canada, and China. These are not just any countries. They are some of the United States' largest trading partners. Just when you thought things couldn't get any weirder in the world of international trade, Trump dropped a bombshell. This isn't just a minor tweak in policy, it's a seismic shift that could send shockwaves through the global economy. On March 4, 2025, he slapped a whopping 25% tariff on imports from Mexico and Canada. This move has left economists and trade experts scratching their heads, wondering about the long-term implications. Yes, you heard that right, our NAFTA buddies. The very countries that have been part of a long-standing trade agreement aimed at fostering economic cooperation and growth. To add insult to injury, he also doubled down on China with a 20% tariff on their imports. This is not just a slap on the wrist, it's a full-on economic assault. The reason? Well, according to the Donald, it's all about trade deficits and, wait for it, stopping the flow of fentanyl. Yes, you heard that right. In his view, these tariffs are a tool to combat the opioid crisis, because nothing says I'm serious about drug policy like punishing entire countries with economic sanctions. It's a strategy that has left many scratching their heads, questioning its effectiveness and rationale. It's like trying to put out a kitchen fire with a fire hose filled with gasoline. The more you try to solve the problem, the worse it gets. This isn't just some political posturing, folks, this is serious stuff. The ramifications of these tariffs could be felt far and wide, affecting everything from stock markets to everyday consumer goods. These tariffs have the potential to disrupt global supply chains, jack up prices for consumers, and send the economy spiraling into chaos. Imagine walking into your local supermarket and finding empty shelves, or seeing factories shut down because they can't afford the raw materials. This is the reality we could be facing if this trade war escalates. So, buckle up, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. So, who are the big losers in Trump's Trade War 2.0 ? Well, it's a long list, and it doesn't make for pleasant reading. Well, besides common sense and basic human decency, it's pretty much everyone. From the average consumer to small business owners, the ripple effects are widespread and deeply felt. But let's break it down, shall we? Let's take a closer look at who gets hit the hardest and how these tariffs are impacting everyday lives. First up, we've got our Canadian pals. Our neighbors to the north are feeling the squeeze in more ways than one. They're getting slammed with a 25% tariff on a whole bunch of goods, including steel, aluminum, and even maple syrup. This isn't just about numbers, it's about livelihoods, because apparently, nothing says America first like making breakfast more expensive. Imagine starting your day with a pricier stack of pancakes. And just to rub salt in the wound, Trump also slapped a 10% tariff on Canadian energy imports. This move has far-reaching consequences, affecting everything from heating bills to transportation costs. You know, because nothing says energy independence like making gas prices skyrocket. Higher fuel costs mean higher prices for goods across the board, hitting consumers right where it hurts. Next on the chopping block is Mexico. Our southern neighbors are also caught in the crossfire of this trade war. They're facing the same 25% tariff on a range of goods, including agricultural products, cars, and even tequila. This isn't just about trade, it's about cultural exchange and economic stability because, let's be honest, what's more American than punishing our neighbors for sending us delicious avocados and margaritas? These tariffs are making it harder for Mexican farmers and businesses to thrive. And last but not least, we have China. The economic giant is already feeling the burn from previous tariffs, but the pressure is mounting. They're already feeling the burn from previous tariffs. But Trump decided to turn up the heat with an additional 20% tariff on a whole bunch of their goods. This move is straining international relations and global supply chains, because nothing says fair trade like starting a trade war with the world's second-largest economy. The repercussions of these tariffs are felt worldwide, affecting markets, businesses, and consumers alike. Now you might think that Canada and Mexico would just roll over and take it, right? After all, they're our neighbors and close trading partners, but the reality is far from that simplistic notion. These countries have their own economic interests to protect, and they're not about to let the United States dictate terms without a fight. Wrong. They've both announced retaliatory tariffs of their own, targeting key U.S. industries. These measures are designed to hit back at the heart of American manufacturing and agriculture, sectors that are crucial to the U.S. economy. The stakes are high and the tension is palpable. It's like a game of economic chicken, and no one seems to want to swerve first. Both sides are digging in their heels, preparing for a prolonged standoff. The question is, who will blink first? Or will this escalate into a full-blown economic conflict with far-reaching consequences? Canada, bless their polite little hearts, has vowed to impose dollar-for-dollar tariffs on $107 billion worth of American goods. This is a significant move, reflecting their determination to stand up to economic pressure. It's a bold statement that they won't be pushed around. That's right, they're hitting us where it hurts, in the wallet. These tariffs are designed to make American goods more expensive in Canada, affecting everything from everyday items to luxury products. The impact on consumers could be substantial, leading to higher prices and reduced purchasing power. Everything from ketchup to bourbon to playing cards could be subject to these retaliatory tariffs. These are not just random items, they are carefully chosen to maximize economic pain and political pressure. The goal is to force a change in U.S. trade policy by making it clear that there are real costs to these actions. Mexico is following suit, promising to hit back with tariffs of their own. They are equally determined to protect their economic interests and send a strong message that they won't be bullied. The Mexican government is targeting key American exports to maximize their leverage. They're targeting agricultural products like pork and cheese, as well as steel and aluminum. These sectors are vital to the U.S. economy, and the tariffs could have a significant impact on American farmers and manufacturers. The ripple effects could be felt across the entire supply chain, so get ready for some pricier cheeseburgers, folks. The cost of these tariffs will likely be passed on to consumers, leading to higher prices for everyday items. It's a reminder that trade wars have real consequences for ordinary people. And China? They're not backing down either. The Chinese government has announced its own set of retaliatory tariffs targeting a wide range of American goods. This is part of a broader strategy to assert their economic power and challenge U.S. dominance in global trade. They've announced tariffs on $60 billion worth of American goods, including soybeans, cars, and aircraft. These are major exports for the U.S., and the tariffs could have a significant impact on American businesses and workers. The stakes are incredibly high, and the potential for economic disruption is enormous. It's a full-blown trade war, and there are no winners in a trade war, folks. The economic fallout could be severe, affecting everything from global supply chains to consumer prices. As the situation continues to escalate, the need for diplomatic solutions becomes ever more urgent. The world is watching, and the consequences of this standoff will be felt far and wide. What happens when the leader of the free world decides to play economic whack-a-mole with our closest trading partners? Well, the stock market throws a tantrum, that's what. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plunged by over 1.5%, while the S&P 500 erased all its gains since Election Day. It seems like investors aren't too keen on Trump's trade war 2.0. And who can blame them? Uncertainty and volatility are not exactly recipes for a healthy economy. But it's not just the stock market that's freaking out. Economists are predicting dire consequences for the U.S. economy, with some even warning of a recession. They argue that these tariffs will lead to higher prices for consumers, job losses, and slower economic growth. And the worst part? It's not just the U.S. that will suffer. These tariffs are likely to have a ripple effect across the global economy. As the situation escalated, communities across Canada began to rally together. From the bustling streets of Toronto to the serene landscapes of British Columbia, a wave of solidarity swept the nation. People from all walks of life joined hands, determined to make a difference. It was a time of unity, resilience, and unwavering hope. This collective spirit, stretching from coast to coast, became the backbone of Canada's fight back. The ripple effects of the crisis are felt from the highest offices of power to the everyday lives of citizens. In the Oval Office, there is a palpable tension as leaders scramble to formulate a response. Meanwhile, on Main Street, conversations are filled with uncertainty and concern. People are wondering how this will impact their jobs, their savings, and their future. Experts are sounding the alarm, pointing to a series of red flags that have been ignored for too long. Economists, analysts, and financial advisors are all in agreement. The warning signs were there. At the same time, everyday folks are starting to notice the cracks in the system. From rising prices to job insecurities, the signs are becoming impossible to ignore. As the situation escalates, the question on everyone's mind is, can anyone stop this train wreck? Policymakers are under immense pressure to find a solution, but the options are limited and the stakes are incredibly high. There is a sense of urgency, but also a feeling of helplessness as the crisis continues to unfold. Globally, the world is on edge. Markets are volatile, governments are on high alert, and people everywhere are bracing for impact. The interconnectedness of today's world means that no one is immune to the fallout. As events continue to develop, the uncertainty and anxiety grow, leaving everyone to wonder what comes next.